Welcome back. Today's lesson is solving multi-step equations. Our essential question is, how does the distributive property and combining like terms affect my steps in solving an equation? So we're bringing it back.
So this one is kind of combining together all the different things we've learned from our expressions unit and now into equations. We're kind of mixing everything together. So our key is to focus on the side of the equation with the variable. That's going to drive everything you do. And our first step is there anything we can do to clean up that side before we're ready to start solving it? So in this case, you can kind of see we have distributive property. We have our number right outside of the parentheses. So we need to do the distributive property first before we try to solve the equation. So I'm going to do 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 6 is 18. And then the rest of the equation just slides down. Once I've done that distributive property, it looks like a regular two-step equation. Now I can go ahead and solve. So I'm going to draw my line down. They subtracted 18, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides. And I get 6x is equal to a negative 6 plus a positive 18 is a positive 12. Then I undo my multiplication by dividing by 6, and I get x is equal to 2. When you do your check, you always go back to the original version of the problem, not your rewritten version. Always go back to the beginning, just in case you made a mistake someplace in there. So in place of x, I'm going to put in a 2. 2 times 2 is 4, minus 6 is negative 2. So I did in the parentheses first. And now I multiply times 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. That's what I wanted for my answer, so I know I am good.
All right. On the right side this time, because the x is on the right-hand side, we're going to distribute a negative 4 to each term in the parentheses. He's going to go ahead and put that invisible negative 1. Are you changing it to a plus negative or?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted you to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, I'm working on that. So we're doing negative 4 times 3 first, which is going to give us a negative 12. Then we're going to do a negative 4 times a negative 1x. That subtraction sign changed to adding a negative 1x. That gave us a positive 4x is equal to 16. Once we have all that simplified, it looks like a two-step equation. We are ready to solve it. So the opposite of a negative 12 is adding 12 to both sides. We're going to go ahead and simplify that out. 16 plus 12 is 28. Negative 12 plus positive 12 cancels out, giving us a 4x on the right-hand side. 4 times x undoes itself by dividing both sides by 4.
It's interesting phrasing there.
Yeah, x is equal to 7. All right, checking. We're going to go ahead and use the order of operations. So 3 minus 7 inside the parentheses gives us a negative 4. Negative 4 times a negative 4 does give us a positive 16.
All right. Those two were where we needed to use distributive property. We saw a number next to a set of parentheses. Here, we're just noticing that we have a lot more pieces than we normally do. So in this case, we need to clean it up by combining some of our like terms together. We really want to have just one term with an x and one constant over there. We don't want to have any extra pieces lying around. So in this one, I'm going to put my 1 in front of my x. And since it's the variable that's being subtracted, I'm going to change it to adding the opposite. And now it's just combining like terms. 6x and negative 1x is 5x. The 7 just hangs out. And then my negative 8 on the other side. Once I've combined together everything I can, now I can solve. They added, so I'm going to subtract. But subtracting and negatives don't go along, so I'm going to go make it into adding the opposite. 7 minus 7 is 0, so I'm left with 5x. Negative 8 and negative 7 is negative 15. And then I finish out with my division to undo my multiplication. And x is equal to negative 3.
Going back to your original equation.
So I'm going to do 6 times negative 3 plus 7 minus x, which is negative 3. Subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 plus 7 plus 3. I'm going to add my positives together first. 7 and 3 is 10 plus negative 18. Different signs subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. I do in fact get negative 8. So I know I am good.
Yeah, squeezing it in again. All right, we got to combine our negative 9x and our positive 5x on the left-hand side of the second example. Negative 9 plus a positive 5 gives us a negative 4x plus 7. Do not forget, minus 7. Sorry, do not forget to bring down that side of the equation when you're simplifying. So now we have a two-step equation we're ready to solve. We're adding 7 to both sides. We cannot forget to bring down the negative 4x on the left-hand side. 5 plus 7 is going to give us 12. We're going to divide both sides by a negative 4 to get that positive x. X is going to get us negative 3. And
I'm going to squeeze it in here. So
negative 9 times a negative 3 is minus 7 plus 5 times a negative 3 is what he's trying to write. Negative 9 times a negative 3 is a positive 27. Minus 7 plus negative 15.
So negative 15.
So we're going to change that subtraction to adding the negative, and we're going to go ahead and we can go left to right. 27 plus a negative 7 is 20. 20 plus a negative 15 is a positive 5, and that is what we wanted.
So we are good.
Nice job.
Hey, I squeezed it in there, and luckily they're paying attention and they're listening, so they know what I'm writing, even if they can't actually read it. All right, so here are 3 of them. Your job is to hit pause, solve these 3 for yourself. Think about, do I need a distributive property? Are there any like terms I can combine together? Then hit play and watch us solve it. Pause it. Try it. All right, first one, 5x plus 2 minus 3x equals 10. I need to combine some like terms. I don't like subtraction in front of my variables, so I'm going to change it to adding the opposite. 5x and negative 3x is 2x plus 2 equals 10. So I'm ready to go ahead and solve. Subtract 2 to undo the addition. 2x is equal to 8. Then I'm going to divide by 2. Hopefully this solving of the two-step equations, when you get this part, hopefully this part's getting easy for us because we've done so much of it. I got x is equal to 4. I'm going to do a quick check. 5 times 4 plus 2 minus 3 times 4. And I want to get 10 as an answer. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 minus 12, because this is really negative 3 times 4, or negative 12. 20 and 2 is 22. Minus 12 does in fact give me 10, so I am good.
All right. Distributing the 6 to the x is 6x. Distributing the 6 to the 2 is 12. Hopefully you tried that on your own. Is equal to negative 48.
I'm confident they did try it all on their own.
We're going to add a negative 12 to both sides. Because subtraction and a negative don't get along. 6x is now going to be equal to negative 60. Dividing both sides by 6, x is equal to negative 10. Using the order of operations, we're going to put negative 48 is equal to 6 times negative 10 plus 2. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 6 is indeed negative 48, and it checks out.
Wow, she talks faster than I can write. All right, last one. No distributive property, but I do see some like terms that I can combine together. So 3x and 1x is 4x minus 2 is equal to negative 14. They subtracted 2, so I'm going to add 2. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thought maybe we were just getting up and leaving.
Yeah, he takes so long.
Negative 14 plus 2 is negative 12. So I'm going to divide by my 4, and I get x is equal to negative 3. Watch those negatives all the way through. A quick check, negative 14. I want to know, is that equal to 3 times negative 3 plus negative 3 minus 2, and I'm going to make that plus a negative 2. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 plus negative 3 plus negative 2. They're all the same sign, so we just add them together and keep the sign. 9 and 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, and we keep the sign. So I really did get negative 14, so I am good. You are good to go.